Hi, Patrick here, have Cheetah Will View, and we are here with another film review. Um, some of this, when I show you what movie I'm gonna be talking about, I'm sure some of you guys are gonna laugh. Um, Considering all the movies I've gotten from the library, right? So all the new movies and everything else, and I find myself going backwards, and to find movies that I've watched before or older that I hadn't watched. I don't know what that is. This is probably a phase. Who knows? But I do want to talk about this movie because this is one of my favorite MCU movies. And yes, I'm one of those guys that puts every Marvel movie into the same universe. It's just how it is. So even though it's not technically MCU, it is to me, and so that's how I treat it. All right, so the movie I want to talk a little bit about today is 2007's uh, Ghost Rider. I gotta say, when this movie came out and I saw Nicolas Cage was doing this was back when Nicolas Cage before he went crazy, and then he's come back to the light since then. But this is Nick. This is his superhero movie. Uh, and he's wanted to play a superhero for a long time. He's a huge comic book fan, is well known for being a huge comic book fan. They want him to play Superman at one time. This is not his only superhero type role he's played. He's also played one in, if I'm not mistaken, he also played a mighty sorcerer named Balthasar in The Sorcerer's Apprentice, which is another excellent film by Nick Cage. So this is a movie that was directed by Mark Steven Johnson, who had brought us Daredevil. And this is when I saw that when they announced that he was going to be directing Ghost Rider uh, after Daredevil. Yeah, uh, that were really excited. Not only myself but a lot of fans because a lot of us really enjoyed Daredevil. In fact, I dare say that Ben Affleck was more impressive as Daredevil than he ever was as Batman. Me and the Cheetah will fight anybody that says different. Um, so this is the origin movie for for Ghost Rider, and like I've said many many times before, if you guys have heard me say this once, you've heard me say it 100 times. But origin movies are the hardest ones to make because you're not just making it for the fans; you got to make it for the public. So that is really really hard because you got to tell the story. A lot of people know, well, we already know how Johnny Blaze became Ghost Rider. Yes, you do, but the 30 people behind you do not. And for them to come and watch your movie, you got to be able to tell the story for them so they can get caught up, which makes a lot of the times origin story. A lot of people are just like, oh man, this is like, oh, do we have to sit through this? Yes, if you're a good fan, then you really want the people behind you to enjoy the film as much as you do because you're buying one ticket, but if they like the movie, they're buying 30 tickets. More box office, more movies, right? Simple. But fans don't seem to get that. Fanboys don't seem to get that. They want to bitch and complain about it. And that included this movie too. This movie was made for $110 million and it reached 230, but it got negative reviews. I've watched this movie 10 times over, and honestly, I cannot understand anybody not liking this movie, um, except for one small detail, and we'll talk about that. There is one detail that I would agree with about this movie that I wish they had actually strengthened it. But the movie itself is really good. It was filmed in Australia. This movie took 2 years to make. 2 years, and on the special edition, they walked through the filming of the movie. They filmed in Australia. It took a year for the effects to be put into the film. It was 2 years, and they were working as fast as they could. Um, so they took a lot of labor of love to go into this movie. The cast is outstanding. I mean, come on, seriously, Nick Cage as Johnny Blaze, super good, super cool. Eva Mendes as Roxanne Simpson. He had Sam Elliott as Carter Slade, Peter Fonda as the devil, Wes Bentley as Blackheart, Donald Logue as Nick's friend. Uh, 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 he was really good in that. Um, he played Brett Cullen was in it. He played Johnny's dad in a small role, but really good in it. Like I said, Donnell Logue played Mac. This was Donnell Logue's second Marvel movie. He had also appeared in the first Blade, so this was the second Marvel movie that he had done himself. Even Rebel Wilson, who was a big star in Australia, she even had a small cameo in there. So, I mean, as far as the cast goes, you can't go wrong with that. Um, so the basic story is, Johnny Blaze's dad, they're son and father and son. They're a motorcycle, family. They go around to the carnivals and they do small stunts and whatnot. They have bigger dreams. The dad has bigger dreams, but Johnny wants to get out, and he looks like him and Roxanne, they're going to run away together when Johnny finds out that his dad, who's been a lifetime smoker, has advanced cancer and he's going to die. So Johnny knows that he can't go with Roxanne anywhere. He's got to stay and take care of his dad. Uh, so he's depressed about that, and at night he's working on a bike, and the devil, played by Peter Fonda, recognizes that Johnny's what he's thinking about, like, he'd do anything to save his dad. So he comes and he makes the deal with the devil. He says, "I'll save your dad, but you'll owe me, and I'll come collect." So the next day, Johnny dad wakes up and he goes to his doctor's appointment, comes back, and he's healthy as a horse. Terminal cancer is gone. He's roaring. So Johnny takes that as a sign that he could go. He can leave. Now his dad's doing well, so he's going to go ahead and run away with Roxanne. But of course, the devil being the devil, he plays a really nasty trick, and he kills Johnny's dad uh, on a stunt after Johnny had left to meet Roxanne, and he had done the stunt by himself, and he died. Um, and the devil kept his word. He said that he would cure his dad, but he didn't say he'd spare him from he spare his life. He just said he'd save him from the cancer. So he tricks Johnny into giving up his soul, and of course that pretty much changes everything for Johnny. He can't go with Roxanne. He's now cursed. He doesn't know when the devil's going to come collect, and so he goes out there and he rides motorcycles. He becomes a world famous stunt rider, and every stunt that he's doing, he doesn't care if he survives or not. He knows that he made a serious error, and he doesn't know if he'll ever get a second chance, to make it up. So when he rides his bicycle, or, his bicycle, when he runs his motorcycle, when he crashes, he's not going to get hurt. The devil doesn't want him dead. The devil has a purpose for him. He doesn't know what it is, but he knows it's coming. So sure enough, we see that the devil's son, as a prodigy, so to speak, Blackheart, is able to escape from hell. And he is going to cause hell on earth. He's going to go after a contract of 1,000 people who just deteriorated and became such a cesspool of evil that the evil in that small town would be enough to increase anybody's power, and in this case Blackheart's power, to even wage war on his dad. um, I don't think that the contract was really explained enough. It should have been a little bit more than just 1,000 souls. I mean, 1,000 people seems like a lot, but it's like, supernaturally speaking, it's a drop in the water. I think they should have made it like at least like 10,000 or something like that, a little bit more pop to it. Um, Blackheart gets out, and he recruits three henchmen, and this is the part that I have the problem with in this movie. I thought Wes Bentley made a great Blackheart. Peter Fonda made a great Devil, but the henchmen that they gave Blackheart were so generic and so powerless. They don't even register as threats at all. They look scummy. They look okay, but they're absolutely worthless. There's no threat from them. They all three of them pretty much get wiped out by the Ghost Rider in a matter of seconds. And I think that it needed to be a little bit more stronger to, maybe each one got a little bit tougher as Johnny goes toward Blackheart. Um, so the devil recruits Johnny Blaze because he cannot touch his son. He cannot touch him on the planet. He is safe from his father. Uh, and so the devil needs Johnny Blaze, and so he goes and gets him. And but unfortunately for Johnny, he had just reconnected with Roxy, and things seem to be going really, really well when the devil comes due, and he wants his Ghost Rider, his bounty hunter, Hell's bounty hunter, the devil's bounty hunter, and so he has to change. He transforms for his first time as Ghost Rider, and he gets the bike uh and changes over into the spirit of vengeance, and we get the first taste of what the Ghost Rider can do. He rides on his bike. He showcases the penance stare, um, which is an awesome weapon. And I'm really glad they brought that into the movie as well. The penance stare has really increased Ghost Rider, the character in the comics. Even so, that the penance stare could stop the Hulk. Could actually stop World Breaker Hulk. If the Ghost Rider had wanted to, he could have killed the Hulk right there, right then, with the penance stare. For all the damage the Hulk had done, and then the penance stare, which what it does, it takes the evil that men do, and then it turns it back on them. This is all the pains you've caused other people. Take a look at the penance stare. The penance stare gives it back to you times 10, times 100, and you're just you're just a shell after that. You were overwhelmed by your own evilness. So we see that the Penister gets used, um, not in a killing fashion, not in a killing fashion. And Mark Steven Johnson made sure to let us know that in the comments. He says, when you watch that, a lot of people thought that the Ghost Rider kills, but he doesn't kill. He doesn't kill at all. He just, if you look and you see the guy blinking his eye, and sure enough, he does. So of course now the devil tells him this: you got to stop Blackheart, and before he gets that contract. Uh, so that's what he's going to try to do. During his course, he meets Carter Slade, also known as the Caretaker, who then explains to Ghost Rider, and for us, for the non comic book fans, this is great. This is why Sam Elliott's character is so important, is because he's explaining to the audience who didn't know who Ghost Rider was, who was just there for the movie. He explains how everything works, why there's a Ghost Rider, how they become a Ghost Rider, what they can do as a Ghost Rider, and all that other stuff. So now you, as a non-comic book fan, you're getting exposition from Sam Elliott. So a really nice piece of storytelling there. And so he finds out that and this is the other part, I guess, going back at it, I guess I had a little problem with too, was for some reason they only made it so that the Ghost Rider could come out at night, and I think they really did that for the special effects back then. I don't think they were up to speed as they would be today. I don't think a Ghost Rider during the day would look as badass as it does at night, the fire and whatnot. So they made the Ghost Rider, because Ghost Rider in the comics, he could be Ghost Rider anytime, anywhere he wants. He's not limited by the day or night. But for the movie, it made sense. So he can only operate at night. By sun, his powers wane and has to recharge. Um, so so then we see him trying to explain, who he is to Roxanne. She thinks that he's crazy, because he stood her up again, like he did when they were teens. So she's pretty much she's had it up to here with him, even though he tried telling her the truth. he told her the truth that he sold his soul to the devil, and he's becoming the bounty hunter for the devil, and of course she thinks that he's nuts, and so she leaves, and so he gets arrested. Of course, we see the part where he this is a little. I heard a lot of people comment about this. I will have to say this too for this. Um, the scene, that the interrogation scene in the police station, I sort of wish they had gone back and redone that, because I don't know if it's just me or so, but Nick Cage, he sort of sounds like Elvis Presley in that. He comes across as Elvis, speaking like an Elvis voice, and it's sort of distracting actually. It's not really his voice. It's like he sounds like he's channeling Elvis, and I wish they just could have fixed that a little bit, made him a little bit more, put more inflection in his voice, a little bit more emotion, other than sounding like Elvis. Of course, he gets put in the jail, and there's some generic thugs there, and he turns into the Ghost Rider, and he gets out and whatnot, and so they're battling. Now he's going to battle. Now he takes on every henchman, takes on the first of the henchmen, and he destroys two of them. Roxanne sees him riding up the side of the building along with every cop who's chasing him now, um, and 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 Blackheart is noticing that too. He notices who Roxanne is, so he knows that the Ghost Rider has a weakness. So yeah, he. So of course the Ghost Rider, he's battling hard. He's trying to do what's right. He comes back down. He goes back out to Carter Slade, and he wants to know what's going on. And Carter Slade tells him. He talks to him. Of course, Blackheart also talks to him again too. After Johnny goes back and realizes that Roxanne's in danger, um, and he goes back to his apartment, and he finds Mac dead, and Roxanne is gone, and Blackheart is there, and the Ghost Rider tries to use his tennis stare on Blackheart, but he has no soul to work on. He's a evil entity. He's an evil angel. He has no soul. So his penance stare doesn't work. But Blackheart tells him that he has tell Daylight to bring him the contract of San Fraganza, or else. Um, so he has to go back to Carter Slade and say, "I need to get that contract." And of course, now the caretaker reveals himself to be Carter Slade, and he gives Johnny the contract, and he says, "What did you sell your soul for? Why did you do it?" Because Carter Slade, he sold his soul for money. And Johnny Blaze said, "I sold my soul to help save my dad. That's I wanted my dad to live, and I sacrificed, willing to sacrifice myself for that." And of course, Carter Slade, he hears that, and he tells the Ghost Rider, because who's looking for a second chance. He says, "You did it for the right reasons," and that means you got God on your side. It's powerful. It's you have a chance now. You have a chance to save your soul. You did it for the right reason. Um, and then he reveals, the caretaker reveals that he's Carter Slade, and he's going to help Johnny. Um, well, we think that he's going to help Johnny. He whistles for his horse. He changes over, and we find out that Carter Slade has been hiding in the cemetery for 150 years because it's hollow ground. It's hollow ground, but not to Blackheart. He's above the rules. Since he wasn't in heaven and he wasn't tossed down, he was able to walk on the. He was able. He's the creation of hell. He's able to walk on sacred ground. So the caretaker and Johnny, they ride to face Blackheart. This is Carter Slade's last ride. Um, this is something too. I wish they would have explained a little bit more about that. Like this is the first time I actually remember seeing the Ghost Rider's power being finite. I pretty much always thought that he was there until it was not, until the devil took it back. Miss Fiedel took it back. I did not know that he only had a finite amount of energy, which is the same thing they did with the character of Spawn too, because Spawn almost has sort of a similar tale. He dies, he goes to hell, he becomes a hell spawn, he comes back to Earth, and he's gonna have all these same powers, the flames and evilness, fight evil and everything else. But Spawn has a finite amount of energy. Once he uses it up, he's done. He has to be careful. It's not forever. So that was the first to hear that, on the movie. I was like, oh, okay. Um, so they had the final battle. It's and of course uh, of course it's the ending was really cool, and I've seen it before afterwards, and Blackheart accepts the 1,000 souls into his body to gain the power. But when he does that, he opens himself up to Ghost Rider, who then he texts and says, "Well, you got the 1,000 souls you wanted. Now here's what you're reaping." And so he defeats Blackheart, and it sort of reminded me a little bit of the last episode of Angel had the same sort of plot line, where this character played by Adam Baldwin, uh, he has the founder's blood in him, and it's making him into a superpower, a super being. And he says that the Angel, he says, I had the bloods in my body, I'm strong now because I have this powerful blood. And then and he goes, well, that's probably what you shouldn't ever tell a vampire, that you got blood, because that's what so. And that's what Angel uses to defeat him. And the same thing Ghost Rider uses to defeat Blackheart is that now, before, he was soulless, and he could have he could have defeated Ghost Rider before he accepted the contract. But he was in such a hurry, he thought he was going to be invincible, that he took the contract first, and that made him stronger in one respect, made him make him weaker to the Ghost Rider. So he got what he wanted, but he should have waited. He should have got rid of the Ghost Rider first. But he's new to the evil game himself, and so he made a mistake. And Ghost Rider is able to defeat him. Um, of course, the devil comes back, and he's, believe it or not, and this is sort of funny to say, but the devil actually came up to honor his word. Uh, he came up to Johnny Blaze and says, "Okay, you did your part. Now I'm going to do mine. I'm going to go ahead and you can go ahead and give me your power. You can give me back my power. To do this." But Johnny Blaze, since he used free choice and doing the deal, like he did the deal, he says, "This is my choice. I'm going to do it." It's also his choice to give back the power that the devil gave him or not, because the devil just can't come up there and take it. He has to be given back. And Johnny Blaze turned around and says, "I'm not going to give this back to you. I'm going to go ahead and keep it." And it's going to weaken him a little bit and make Ghost Rider a agent for good on the planet. And so he says, "I'm going to use this, and then whenever you come across somebody, it's in a trouble because of you, I'm going to be there facing off against you." And it was cool. The movie ends like that, and I got to tell you, for an origin movie, this movie is really sparkles. I can't explain that enough for me. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I thought the cast was really well. I thought it was very well directed. Mark Steven Johnson definitely knows his way around superheroes, especially Marvel heroes. It's a damn shame that he didn't get more of a chance. Um, uh, I wish he would have directed Elektra, which was the spinoff of Daredevil. That was done by Rob Bowman. I really had wished that he had done that too. Even though he produced that movie, I wish he had directed it. And I wish that Marvel would, I wish Kevin Feige and the MCU, Disney or whatnot, I wish they would have gave Mark Steven Johnson another crack at a Marvel property, because he deserves it. Um, all right. So I really did. I thought Eva Mendes was outstanding, top to bottom. Peter Fonda looked like he was having a great time. Wes Bentley, the story about him getting cast was great. Wes Bentley, he was hard to get because he really doesn't do a lot of films, and Mark Steven Johnson had to go recruit him, because that's even the studio said that you can want Wes, but doesn't mean you're gonna be able to get Wes because he's just very hard to get. But he went and had a beer with him and showed him the script and talked to him about the role of Blackheart. And by the end of their lunch, he said, "Hell yeah, count me in. I'm in." And so much better for it. He plays a great Blackheart, and he plays a great villain overall. Wes Bentley does. Oh, he plays a good guy too. But he was good in this role. Sam Elliott being Sam Elliott, he elevates everything that he's in. He was really good as Carter Slade. Um, I wish he would have had just a little bit more punch at the end of the movie to help Johnny. That would have been a little bit. That would have been cool. Maybe him going out in a blaze of glory against Blackheart, other than just riding into the sunset. I wish. The effects are really good for the time. I have no problem with the effects at all. I thought they were really well done for 2007. They may seem a little bit dated today. I didn't feel so. I didn't think so in rewatching this. I thought the effects were fine. I thought they were cool. They showed that Johnny's powers pretty well, pretty well defined. Um, and of course, this was not the only appearance of the Ghost Rider either. Uh, the Ghost Rider came back and they did a sequel called Spirit of Vengeance. I'm not going to be covering that movie because that movie is doo-doo and rushed and not very good and looked really horrible. Had Nick Cage in it and it had actually a decent cast in it, but it was rushed and it got roasted. So that was the end of Ghost Rider as far as the big screen goes. But he came back in the Agents of Shield, played by Diego Luna, and holy shit, that was a great arc. That was my favorite arc of Agents of Shield. The whole series, the arc with the Ghost Rider in it was my favorite. In fact, I dare say that was every Marvel's fan favorite as well. So we're going to be getting the Ghost Rider back when Marvel releases Thunderbolts. He's going to be part of the Thunderbolts crew, and that'll be a very interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how they portray him. He wasn't original. He wasn't an original Thunderbolt because because the Ghost Rider pretty much has always been a hero, and the Thunderbolts were villains pretending to be heroes. So we'll see how they play that out. All right. Thanks so much for watching. I think I went way over my time limit for a 30-minute review about a 16-year-old movie, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, please hit the sub button. Leave a comment down below. I'll get back to you. Yeah. I'll put down I'll put down some stuff in the description box down below. So yeah, have fun with it, and we will talk at you soon. Thanks for watching. And again, Ghost Rider 2007. If you haven't seen it, do so. Peace.